think intuition is a funny thing. My intuition told me a lot of things. My intuition has told me who is meant to be in my life, who is not, who is here for a chapter, or who's here for a couple of pages, who may be here for the book. When an environment isn't safe, when one is home, I think it's so funny how we have gifts like intuition, and yet we ignore it at every given opportunity, myself included. Like, I was thinking about it. I just came back from a job interview. Now, my intuition has been telling me for a while, do not look for jobs. Do not look for jobs. You are not meant to be an employee. But to say that, especially to a lot of people in the world that we're living in currently, they look at you and they think you're naive or idealistic, I guess you could say. But at the same time, it's like, if I'm not coming to you from a place of like thinking this is all easy and this is all just gonna, like, you know what? Even if it was easy, so what? Are you sitting here trying to tell me that there are not people on this planet that live easy lives? And if so, what exactly makes you think that I'm not someone who could be one of those people living an easy life? Who's stopping you from believing that you could be living an easy life as well? Or a soft life, I should say. To be honest, if I'm really getting down to semantics, I don't wish for an easy life. I feel like an easy life is, remaining ignorant and just, dragging your feet through the days. I don't think easy is fulfilling. I don't think easy is purposeful. I think a soft life is one that is lived with purpose. But just because it's lived with purpose does not mean it needs to be hard. It does not mean that, you need to feel like you're under a time crunch, or like the weight of the world is on your shoulders every single day, 24/7. The whole reason I looked for this job was because I made a very big decision of leaving my last job about a year ago. And ever since, I've been doing freelance things to, make my money as I see fit. But obviously the problem with being your own boss in any regard is you have to hold yourself accountable. 3, 2, 1, as I was saying that. You have to hold yourself accountable. You have to give yourself a strict routine. I always ask myself, why is it that this job interview I just came from, I'd have to be working 6 days a week, right? It's an hour away from me. I'd have to get there by, I believe, 8 in the morning, and it's a 9 to 10 hour shift. So I believe that's around, 8 to 6, roughly? Yeah. Why is it in my head it's not only easier, it's not, an easy life. Okay. Why is it that I believe that it's easier to get up in the morning, set my schedule and set my day correctly, to go to work and show up on time or early even, to make sure that they know that I mean business, to prove myself to them? Why does that seem easier to me than doing that same thing for myself when nobody but myself is holding me accountable? Why is it that I feel like I don't owe myself that same respect? Why is it that I find myself not being a man of my word to myself? Why is it I always seem to forego the things that I want and need in pursuit of other people's desires and necessities? Why is it that it seems so easy to live for other people? Even if you have yourself convinced that it's for you. Because in this regard, I guess you could say, like, yeah, I'm doing this job so I can save up money so I can start working towards my passions and things like that. That is true. But is that really why we're doing what we're doing? Because realistically, if I put in the same work, if I put in consistent, disciplined work since I left my last job, with YouTube, with music, with my fitness, with all of these things, where I would be now would be like insane. It would be insane. That's not something to beat yourself up over, though. It's good to be honest with yourself and also acknowledge your achievements and sit with them and sit in them. You know, I was just watching this YouTuber who was saying, you know, acknowledge that you're not who you need to be or where you want to be. No, you're not who you need to be, but you've come a long way. I believe that's what it was. Right? It's okay to be honest and acknowledge, like, who you desire to be is not here yet, because you're always striving, you know, for a future version of yourself, constantly growing and evolving. But you've come a long way, and that's something to be very proud of. That's something that, you know, yeah, it's something to be proud of, not to repeat myself. When I walked into this office for this interview, I felt this weird feeling in my chest. It wasn't anxiousness, it wasn't any of that. I was sure that the job was mine when I walked in. And I just kind of knew. But the second I walked, it wasn't even once I got in the building. It was specifically once I walked into the room. I passed the doorway and I had this weird feeling, like right center mass. And it was like, just a thing of saying, like, this is not where you're supposed to be. The money sounds good. Of course it does. But will you lose your soul in it? Now, here's where you have to use discernment, because if you're really living a purposeful life and you are really prioritizing your wants and needs and who you are as a person, you never have to worry about whether or not something is going to take you out of your energy, because you already have that fortitude. But at the same time, while we're in the process of getting there, the discernment has to be used a little bit more, in my opinion. I feel like it's not so much that this could take me out of my my space, but more so it may halt the process in other ways. To anyone out there who's trying to stay on the path that their intuition is like screaming at them to stay on, but they're getting tired, they're getting antsy, they're getting restless, they're getting irritable, they're getting frustrated, they're getting ashamed. To anyone who's feeling like that, you are not the only person. Like, I promise you, you're not the only person. And it's hard because to have this different understanding of the world around you, but still exist in this plane and still try to go through the transition of fully believing in that perspective that you have grown to have, to really be solidified in that. It's hard, because deep down as soon as you really put all of your faith into it, the ball will start rolling and it will be a snowball effect. But for some reason, it's like every time you're right there at the precipice, it seems like the people around you, your loved ones, your family, your friends, maybe your spouse, not to shame anyone, it is not their fault, but it seems like the universe will always send you these energies that'll have you questioning your stance on things and your disposition, have you going backwards a little bit to see if you'll catch yourself or not. Excuse me. I have to get better at doing these YouTube videos. And I think that's only going to come with me being more honest. I think every time I get on here, I try to talk overly proper. Not that I don't. I'm not even going to say that. I don't need to prove that I have a good vocabulary or anything like that. But I think I talk overly proper, but I'm always trying to figure out the right words to say, because I want to make sure people understand what I'm trying to say. But maybe that's the wrong space to be in. Maybe that's the same thing that's tied to why I feel I need to still be applying to jobs and going to interviews, so I could tell, my loved ones, hey, like, you don't have to worry, like, not just about me, but about yourself. Like, I'm about to, come into this and be able to give you what I wanted to give you for so long. Maybe it's just a thing of ego and vanity. I think sometimes it's good to take a step back, to rest, reassess, and recoup. It's another thing my intuition. Ooh, excuse me. It's another thing my intuition's been telling me for a while. You need to be alone. 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 I've been hearing this since like November. And I try to tell myself, oh yeah, I'm taking time to rest here and there. But it's not really rest if I rest for a day and then I stress myself double the amount the next day to try to make up for it, or tenfold even. It's not really rest then, is it? I'm expelling the same amount of energy, stressing myself out the same amount. It may be more, if not the same. It's okay to admit when you need to take a step back. You are not doing a disservice to anyone. If anything, I don't think you should focus on this, but if anything, you're helping those around you by grounding yourself and finding your center. Bring it back to headquarters, our home base. I don't know why I said headquarters. Headquarters is wild. I feel like a lot of us really have this belief that we're hurting people or we're doing something wrong when we say or feel that we need to take some time to ourselves. Isolation is not always a bad thing. It's a really good tool if used properly. Sometimes it's good to be away from all the noise. We live in a day and age where, like, you can't escape. There's this song called Mathematics by Most Def. He goes by Yasin Bey now. But back then, when this song came out, not everybody had a phone. He said 40% of Americans have a cellular phone so they can listen even when you're not home. Like, even if you don't acknowledge it, I feel like on a subconscious level, we all are aware of the fact that we're never able to be alone with our thoughts so long as we keep going with the flow of what the world tries to feed us, which is constant distraction, constantly trying to captivate our attention and our energy. Think about how easy it used to be present when we were kids. Do you think that was just because we were children? Like, really take a minute to listen to the music from now and listen to music from back in the day. I'm not trying to be one of those people to be like, oh, those old heads are on to something. Like, I'm genuinely saying, like, it's not to say that music isn't good now. I have a lot of artists that I love right now. But even the really good music, you can hear it and tell they have to do something to captivate you even more than they used to. Like, there used to be songs that had intros where nobody would say anything for 2-3 minutes. Imagine someone making a 7-8 minute song consistent. Like, that's like one of the norms. Unheard of. You wouldn't see it. You wouldn't see it. 1718 on the clock. You have to take the time and have the discipline and have the willpower to bring yourself back to this. Not even this, not this body, like something deeper, you know? And not just this, but this, if you catch my drift. It's all connected. I really gotta get better with these. I'm gonna keep rambling and you guys will never actually get the gist of what it is that I'm trying to say. We're getting better with it. We're getting better with it, but you have to start somewhere, yeah? I'm starving. I think I'm about to go eat some food. Enjoy the rain. It started raining as soon as I hit record. Maybe we just need to wash away all the things that have led up to now, yeah? Let bygones be bygones and move with a clean slate. Try to listen to your intuition more. I think we all need to. All right, guys.